This week on the show, it's a People's Choice special. We polled Twitter and asked them what they want us to cover this week, and they picked speculation. So we're all going to take a shot at some of these open storylines and say how we would end it. We also have what we call news, and Gord made a Paragon. Wait, what? Our fans love to hear his guess on Shadow of the Dragon. Welcome to Shadow of the Dragon. This is episode number 32. And we are freaking stoked, man.
Freaking stoked, man.
Hell yeah. I'm a little ticked. Gallios is with me right now. Cora may or may not be coming into the show later. She is adulting right now. She is going to try and make her way into the show, but she had to do some work late, so she might not make it. But anyway, it's me and Gallios so far, and yeah, we're pretty excited. So
it's going to be neat.
It will.
I think we have some good news. I think news is fun this week.
Yeah, I told Gallios he's got to swallow the red pill and come into the bigger world with me and Cora when it comes to speculation.
No.
All right, so I had a busy week with stuff. So, Gallios, why don't you start off?
Well, mine shouldn't be too bad because the last 2 weeks I've only done a couple of things. Of course, work is work, and that's never going to change. Driving and meeting with customers. So, real life, over and done. There we go. In game, I did some World v. World and more World v. World and a lot more World v. World. And I don't know why I'm so addicted at the moment with it, but I am more addicted than I normally am for some reason. And we're back in tier 1, so it is painful.
Yeah, we had
realizing. Well,
Wednesday.
Yeah, and I wish I would have been able to be a little bit more active Wednesday, but with getting up, and my son had a bad day that day, so, it was a lot of getting up from the game and walking away, which, you were gracious enough to take the pin so that it wouldn't be, people wouldn't have to stop. But anyway, there's only one gripe I have about Tier 1 right now. Everything's on EBG.
It always is.
It's like, what? Like, do we just want to go and do fights if they'll just put that out and all we plan on doing is fighting but not winning the PPT battle? Fantastic, because the other teams are playing to win the week, which is okay with me. If they put it out that, hey, JQ, we just want to have fun, we just want to fight, I'm all good. I'm all good with that. But, like, are we trying to stay in Tier 1? Because if we are, we got to win every once in a while, And we could totally make it balanced if we split up the borderland. If we split up and put people on the borderlands, which we're not doing, the other teams are doing that, or they're all on EBG and then they go, hey, the other two guys are on EBG. Let's go to their borderlands and rip them to shreds while there's nobody there, But anyway, all that aside, I realize I'm not very good as a frontliner, but I'm trying to be. So, like, I'm forcing myself to keep going in as a frontliner and a midline. My Revenant, I'm getting pretty good with, but I still get beat more often than not in a 1v1 against either another Revenant or one of these classes that makes me eat my DPS. So I've got to figure out how to combat that. And I'm just like you, bro. I am not a meta chaser. I just can't do it. I might look at it to get some ideas, but I very rarely, if ever, use the meta itself.
Frontline shout warriors, all you need. That's all you
I
need.
know, and I'm working on one. So I just have to learn how to play it, and I'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Well,
So
if you have a couple frontline shout warriors with a AH frontline guardian, done deal. Done deal.
yeah.
You're a freaking wall, man.
So I just have to practice it. So I am forcing myself to play out of my comfort zone
Good man.
and learn how to do a frontliner. So hopefully I'll be able to frontline soon.
Yeah, because I'm getting sick of being the only frontliner in the guild.
I know, I know. And then map completion. I've been trying to do map completion on the Revenant because I'd like to just go ahead and have. I need another map completionist. Um, I just really never took the time. I just find it's a grind, and I don't normally have the patience for it. But I've been again stepping out of my comfort zone and forcing myself to do it because I got to keep up with you and Cora on the things that I think I'm missing by not doing that kind of stuff. So
There you go.
trying to be a better podcast host.
You're a great podcast host. Stop.
So that's what I'm trying to work on is my game knowledge. So, and that's pretty much it, buddy.
Good man. I love frontline. I've always played frontline. I cut my teeth in WW on frontline, and there's nothing more exciting because that's where you control the battle. If you're doing a large scale or even a medium scale, open field fight, that's where the battle's controlled is the front line. And people are like, people have said to me, "Oh, it's easy to play warrior in WW." Well, come do it. Come control the front line effectively. It's not easy to do. It's really not easy to do.
Right.
Your
It's
gear has
tricky.
to be tight. Yeah, your gear has to be tight, precision. You have to hit the right skill at the right time, just like every other class. So I'm glad you're
Yeah.
doing it, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn it, because it's a completely. I mean, if you haven't played Ranger full time, the Warrior is a complete and utter opposite play style, and it's not just melee to whatever. And as a Ranger, every utility is an attack or defend utility based on a good guess of what the enemy's going to do next. And the Warrior class, at least the build that I am trying out right now, 90% of it is response. Yeah. In other words, like, I wanted to try that Berserker trait line, but not in a damage deal. There's going to be some damage, but more of a stability thing and a condi cleanse and breaking what do you call that? I hate it when my mind goes blank.
Stun break.
Stun break. Yeah. So I've got a lot of that in there. So it's mostly going to be responsive stuff, and the cooldowns take a really long time. So it's like you have to police yourself and not just go button mashing, So it takes a lot of concentration and kind of watching your conditions and watching your health meter and keeping an eye out for
cooldowns.
When you get stunned, you got to know you got to react quickly, because if you don't, you're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got 30,000 HP or not. You're dead.
Yeah. First to fight, first to die, baby.
Yeah. So it's a really hard class. I've got a lot of respect for what you guys do on that front line. So,
and see, I still haven't given up my old front line shout warrior. So I'm still running Corteria. I haven't tried the Berserker. I've decided that I have to. The Wednesday, I had more fun running the new. Well, it's not even really new. It's kind of new. It's updated, but it doesn't use the Dragon Hunter, the frontline altruistic healing guardian, and that was fun. I mean, in WW, I kind of want to get back into WW, but I'm afraid to get back into WW because I don't want to get hooked on it again like I was last time. So.
Yeah. Well, it's I love the story, and I don't hate PvE, but after a while the PvE bores me. I have one of these I don't know if I'm technically ADD or whatever. But like my mind has to have something making it think and concentrate, and I find
Yep.
World v World does that for me. So that's my cleanse at the end of every day,
Yeah.
because I sit in a car all day long, and my cleanse is that. So, I don't know if maybe that's what it is that draws me to World v World over PvE, because I've done PvE. I
Yeah.
finished the story already, so it's like, okay, been there, done that. But I'm finding other things to take my attention in PvE, so it's coming along.
Good. All right. So now to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how about you?
So I had a busy week. So I can finally, thank the six, I can finally say that I crafted Chuka and Champawat.
Yay!
And I got to take some glam shots with Alona.
Oh, fun.
It was cool. Yeah, we had said a while ago that when we both finished it, we would take some screenshots together. We posted it up on Twitter and stuff. So it was nice.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to be done with it. I mean, looking back, I realized that a lot of my frustration with crafting Chuka and Champawat was because I didn't follow my own rules
Your
for
normal
crafting
stuff.
legendary. Yeah, I mean, I can grind out a Series 1 legendary seriously in 45 days. That's all it takes me. I've done it enough. I know what it takes, and I know what to expect. But it just seemed like every time I looked up the recipe for Chuka and Champawat, there's another collection to do. There's another Heart of Thorns fight to do. There was another Verdant Brink freaking outpost to save. There was another meta event I had to do. There was another 300 freaking map currencies I had to do. It was really on me. I didn't plan it out well, but looking back at it, I could still say I am probably not going to craft a Series 2 legendary unless it's super cool. And if it carries over into the next expansion where it's a little bit easier, the maps are a little bit better, then I might do it. But not in Heart of Thorns.
I've actually thought about doing one of the, and I hate to say easy because I know none of them are really easy, but like I've thought about doing the, doing something, buying a precursor and doing one that doesn't take as long as Nevermore is taking, just so I can have one that I've done on my own. I really want Nevermore, but just like Chuka and Champawat, it's got this big storyline you have to.
Well, why don't we pick a day? I'm into getting off my warrior, getting off my dragon hunter, getting off my necro for a little bit, and start playing my elementalist that I haven't touched in a year and stuff like that. So why don't we just pick a day or go through and do some PvE?
That sounds good, man. I really want to do some of that stuff because I think I'm just like I decided this morning while I was on my way to Mississippi. I left this morning and went to go call on a customer, and all the way over there I was thinking, maybe it's time I clean out my bank and see how much money I can make.
Yeah.
Because I literally have over 10 stacks of mithril.
That's worth about 1 gold, dude.
Really?
Yeah, Mithril's like 14 copper per.
Are you serious? I haven't even looked.
Crap. Mithril is crap.
Well, what good is it?
Well, it is good. Don't get me wrong, it is good.
Well, I have a crap ton of it.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to upgrade stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, like the the mithril into mithril ingots and the hard leather into whatever the hell you turn it into and all that.
Well,
other
leather
jazz.
is super expensive. If you have a crap ton of leather, dump it because we'll get to it in news, but price of leather should be dropping relatively soon. Well, let's finish this up. So we got on a tangent. That's all right. So my second thing is right after getting my Chuka and Champawat, I got lost in Guild Wars 2, and I was like, okay, what do I want to do? And there was nothing that I wanted to do. So, well, I'll get to this in the third thing I want to cover and what I did. But anyway, I was cleaning out my office and I found a Guild Wars Game of the Year edition and a factions box that I forgot. I forgot about. It was a mule account for my main on Guild Wars, so I forgot the login credentials and everything. So, I decided, well, I'm going to get this back.
Right.
So I reached out to support, and I don't know why anybody complains about ANET support, because every time I contact these people, they're absolutely fabulous. It took a couple days, but I was able to get the account credentials back, and it took a couple days because I didn't respond to them right away on the first email. But I got it back. I linked it to my second Guild Wars 2 account, and I'm going to get my 50 Hall of Monuments points.
Nice.
Yeah, so I bought Nightfall for it. I bought Eye of the North. I made a Necro in Pre-Seer. I already had a Ritualist from Factions. Mm-hmm. So I decided in Nightfall, I picked a Dervish, and I never played a Paragon. In all the years that I played Guild Wars 1, I never played a Paragon. So I made a Paragon.
Yeah, it's a Guardian of Guild Wars 1.
Yeah, so I'm going to use a Paragon. Just those three characters, Paragon, Necro, and a Ritualist. And I'm going to get my 50 Hall of Monuments points for my second Guild Wars 2 account. Nice. So that's kind of fun. So I got one foot in each camp. So it's nice because sometimes I'll just go, I'm focusing more on pre-searing, my pre-searing character now, because there's more to do. Because I can't leave pre-searing without getting the collector's armor, which isn't really collector's armor. It's just a 7 AR on it. But that's what I'm doing. And then the third thing, which I'm most excited about,
the big thing.
I was cleaning my office because I got a bunch of AV equipment. I got a mixer, a new microphone stand, cables, and all kinds of stuff for the podcast. So
we're trying to look professional or something. What's that? What the hell?
Well, we were using Pamela, which is a decent program, until Skype last year at some point broke their API. And when they did that, they destroyed the link from Pamela to Skype, and it never improved. We recorded a couple shows that really sounded like crap because of the software I was using, and I'm not going to do that. So we started using Zencaster. It's a good medium, but it's just too young. It's a $20 a month subscription in order to use it. And, to be honest, this is our second take because the first take got screwed up because I muted. And when I muted, it totally screwed up my voice, put a huge echo on everything, and we had to scrap it. So this is our second take of the intro. And it just got frustrating. So with the mixer, I'll be able to record differently. And more importantly, I'm going to start live producing the show, which means that right now we record a segment, we take a break, I download the MP3s that are generated, and then I put everything together in post and insert bumpers and all that good stuff, where now I'll be able to produce a show live. So I'll be able to drop all my bumpers in. I'll be able to do the intro all in one take while we're recording, and post-production will end up being just cutting out the mess up. So I'm pretty excited about that because that leads us to doing a live show where we'll be able to do it, because using the method we're using now, if we do a live show, it would have to be on a Saturday night, because I doubt anybody would tune in at 10:30 p.m. Eastern and watch us till 2 a.m. Eastern. So,
oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so we would
I
have
don't know
to.
if I would be able to do it, and I would be
well, that's every Friday night, buddy.
Yeah, so but anyway, I could pretend like I'm not paying attention when nobody's looking.
So anyway, that's where it was. It was a really busy week. I updated the SOTD podcast website. So now we have a shorter URL. We are now officially sotdpodcast.com. I reached out to community members today on Twitter and updated our links. So I added more links to more GW2 related sites and streamers, and changed the layout so it looks better. And just got a lot done, so I feel pretty good about the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I was going to actually touch base with you about taking care of the website. That I would pay for that. So we still need to discuss that.
Ooh, that's intriguing, but right now it's free, so.
I know, but we're still going to talk about it.
All right, buddy.
Okay.
So I mean, that's it. It's been a very productive week and a good start to the year so far. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So this will hopefully be the last week that we're using Zencastr as our recording medium. And starting next week, you should hear a really big difference in how the show sounds, and hopefully it'll sound a lot better. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Me too.
All right. So I think that's going to do it for the intro, take 2.
Numero dos.
Yeah, so we have some news to go over, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with what we call news. Okay, and we are back. So we got quite a bit of news this week, I guess.
Yeah, it was interesting news.
None of it from ANET. Well, one story from ANET that
One story
just popped today. But anyway, let's jump into this. The Dragon Ball Festival's launched on last Tuesday. Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
There's really not much to say about Lunar New Year except that people really wanted that mini cock. Yeah, everybody was raging because the Celestial Mini Rooster. I'll be nice because it's
I got it like this afternoon, like the third envelope. I got it.
Oh, I got mine from a Black Lion chest.
Yeah, that's where I got mine this morning.
Yeah, I got mine from the 6th one. So, and I didn't even want it. I'm not into the Celestial Minis. But anyway,
I'm just getting them for the achievement points, to be honest.
Yeah, but anyway, I mean, it's Dragon Ball. It's a good festival for them. It does kind of give a nod to Chinese New Year, which is fun.
Right.
We get 1 year of cock jokes.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to say about it. It's not anything great. I've been buying my 16 envelopes just about every day. I've been losing on average about 1 gold every day buying the stupid envelope. So I'm probably just not going to buy the envelope. But the good trade-off is that you get a lot of Magic Find. The fireworks are good because you can stack quite a bit of Magic Find on. You can get really high Magic Find with it. And you do end up getting more gold and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's good.
I will tell you that I did. I think I opened them on that Warrior today, and I looked at the guys that I would traditionally be opening stuff with because they have higher Magic Find, and he was 120 points higher. And then I remembered that a few days ago when I opened up the first ones on him. That I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and burn all of these real quick because I'm just not I guess I just don't open enough chests and stuff,
Well, Magic Find is account bound, right?
I don't think it is when you do it on.
No, if you're using boosters, then it's not. You get the booster from. You'll get a Magic Find boost from launching any fireworks. It gives you 5 minutes, I think.
And is that on? Will it be on every tune?
No, that's not a count.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. That's how I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because normally he wouldn't have that much, and I must have popped 40 fireworks. It was retarded.
Well, it stops. It gives you the same rate. What it does is add time, and it caps at 2 hours. So. You're just if you're burning it after you pin it at 2 hours, then you're.
Oh, so it's not giving me extra Magic Find. It's just giving me extra time on +5.
But it stacks on top of your core Magic Find, your account Magic Find, I should say. If you go to the guild hall and you get the magic find boost from the guild hall, if you burn a magic find booster, all that stacks. If you get a magic find banner, if you get the magic find fire, all that magic find stacks. And then on top of it, if you go and do a full meta event as Silver Waste, it pops you up to 200% magic find. So what a lot of people will do is get their envelopes, go and do a Silver Waste meta, which takes about 45 minutes to an hour, get that full magic find, and during the break pop their boosters, and you can get up to, people are getting up to over 800% magic find, and there is a marked difference. So
yeah, well, I did get the mini right off of that, and then I got a bunch of those trophies.
Yeah, that you sell. That's where you get your gold back.
Yeah, 14 gold I made off of those.
Yeah, but see, when you buy the envelopes, it's 16 gold to buy the envelopes, and I've been buying the envelopes, getting 16 roosters, which gives you back 15.5 gold, we'll say. So you're losing 50 silver every time you do that, unless you get there's lanterns that you get.
Yeah.
There's one lantern, most of the lanterns that you get are worth a couple copper, which will help make up the difference, but there's one lantern that you can get that's worth 8 gold, 88 silver, 88 copper. So that one's nice, but that rarely falls for me. So
yeah,
I mean, whatever.
I made some money opening mine. Like I had 1,480 gems, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these. I don't really want to buy anything, I didn't want to buy any skins today or anything like that, but I was like, it was burning a hole in my pocket. I was like, what am I going to buy? I was like, you know what? I hadn't bought any keys in a while, so I bought some keys. I bought 15 keys with that, and just, took my chances with the highest magic find guy I had. And I made 14 gold without really, and all I did was sell those little rooster things, the little rooster trophies.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all for, I used 15 keys. That's a little more than a gold a piece.
I opened 15 chests the first day of Dragon Ball, and out of those 15 chests, I got 8 scraps.
Yeah, I got 4
scraps. Yeah,
I got 4. So it wasn't too bad, It could have been worse.
Yeah, so, it's just the
25%.
Yeah, it's just the festival focuses on Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball's not fun. So, all right. So next on the docket, let's move on. I'm going to expunge names from this. If you follow me on Twitter, then you already know about this or whatever. I'm not going to give any names because it's not needed. But a PSA came out earlier this week. The ANET partnership program came into question again, and it was just put out on Twitter that only about 52% of ANET's partners are actively covering Guild Wars 2. And I am going to put this out there because I don't think that she would mind, but Dolphy's name came up, and I had said I wasn't sure if Dolphy had applied for partnership with ANET because, they put Dolphy in the game. She's at the front gate of Underground Fractal. Siege Master Dolphy, defending Ascalon City in the Urban Fractal, I think it is. But anyway, Dolphy did respond and said that she had applied for partnership and never heard anything back from ANET.
Dolphy?
Dolphy.
Oh my God.
Whose name is synonymous with the wiki.
Synonymous with the wiki. Like everybody uses her website for missions and you name it.
So it wasn't originally put out there to be mean. It wasn't originally put out there to give ANET a hard time, but ArenaNet really needs to look at the partnership program. They really do. A lot of the people that they grabbed were Twitch people, which is probably the most advertising they can get for the buck or whatever, however it breaks down, whatever. But there's a bunch of people making content that are not partnered, and there's a bunch of people that do stuff for the game that are not partnered. And this came up a long time ago in our show, and I don't mean to beat the dead horse, and I really don't like bringing it up because, you know, ArenaNet chooses who they partner with. It's up to them. But maybe you should partner with people who are actually covering your game, is all I'm saying. You know, so, and that doesn't even have to be us. I applied for partnership over almost a year ago now and heard nothing back. And I'm not going to apply again. I'm going to do the show. And as long as they don't send me a cease and desist because I use their music, I'm a happy guy.
Right. Yeah, I don't think they would do that anyway. But still, I'd still think that they really do need to take a look at it because it's not hurting us not to be a partner. Let's put it that way. But there are some people that contribute way more than what we contribute that aren't getting any nods at all, and that's just not cool. I mean, they do need to check into it.
We're a fan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that every other weekend when we record, my weekend consists of editing this podcast. I make no money on it. I am not looking to make money on it or anything like that. But it's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And like you said, there's other people out there that do a lot more work. And you know what? It would mean a lot to some people. You should look at it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And that's the only reason why I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
All right, so the next unpopular topic. And this actually sparked a pretty good conversation on Twitter.
This is still a fun conversation.
It is. So the DPS meter has reared its ugly head again on Reddit. But this time there was a dev response.
Yes.
Dun dun dun. All right, so somebody just put up about the pros and cons. It is known that there is a third-party DPS meter and gear check that is being done. Now, the controversial part about that is that this somehow uses the memory and hacks into the memory of the game or something to do with that. I don't quite understand it. In order to check people's gear, to check their DPS output. And this is all in the rating world.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it was Chris Cleary, and I'm looking now. So yes, it was Chris Cleary. He just jumped onto Reddit and he said, quote, "I'll have another conversation about this situation on our end, as this has been an ongoing topic for a long time now." So he did recognize it. He did say, hey, we're going to take a look at it. Unfortunately, that is a common answer from Guild Wars devs on Reddit. And I'm sure that they mean to talk about it. I'm sure that they do want to have a conversation about it. But honestly, I don't think that should be any kind of sign that there's going to be something done about it.
Yeah.
Other than maybe somebody will come out and say no again. So for me, what it comes down to now is it's not so much about the DPS meter. I'm not going to use a DPS meter every day. I'm rarely going to use the DPS meter. I might use a DPS meter when I make a new build. I might use a DPS meter now that I'm trying to get into raiding, but it's not so much of the DPS meter as why can't we have a DPS meter? Why is it such a big deal? Why is it put out by ArenaNet that there's some tools that they're going to put out in that the devs use that they're never going to let us have? And that's more the issue for me. If people want to have a DPS meter, what is wrong with that? That's my only question. And if somebody gave me a good answer about it, and Lysis from Twitter had said there's a YouTube video, he's going to try and find a link for me that explained why it's not good to have it. But I mean, my outlook on it, and I put this out on Twitter, and it wasn't very popular. A couple people kind of scoffed at me for saying it. But when ArenaNet put out raids, they open the door for this kind of stuff. If
Yeah.
you're putting out content that is attracting high level players that want to speed clear, that want to be very precise, they're going to use these tools.
Right.
You're opening the door for these tools.
The more elite players
Not so much
have
elite,
always.
because there's people
Well,
like Helsig, who thinks he's God's gift because they're good at PvP or they're good at raids,
mhm,
which is fine. But when it comes down to it, ArenaNet has not given anybody a reason why they won't put this in. You know, and they've strayed so much from the original manifesto. People are like, oh, well, they said they weren't going to do it. Well, you know what? They said that a lot of things that they weren't going to do in the manifesto that they're now doing.
right.
So why can't you put in what if I want to play the UI and not the game? What if I want to have a customizable UI? Why can't I have it? You know, that's just how I look at it. Give me a reason from a dev, not from some guy making YouTube videos. ArenaNet, give me a reason why I can't have a DPS meter in the game. And if it makes sense to me, I'll move on. It's
Right.
not so much about the DPS meter. To me, it's the why.
Well, I guess I can see your point. I'm not. I don't really have an opinion either way, other than the fact that what you just brought up brings up an interesting piece of that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't particularly know if I would use it. What I do fear, and I guess fear is a really strong term. It's not necessarily a fear for me, because honestly, I could give a crap what people say. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of those folks that are trying to get into raids may be left out because they don't get it, and they'll never get it because they're left out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but
I understand why. Okay, like you said it earlier, there's going to be some people who want to speed clear, and they're going to want. But you know, I remember getting into some pickup groups where you couldn't even get in because you didn't have a high enough DPS and you didn't belong to a
yeah.
big enough guild, so you never got high enough DPS unless you spent all day playing a game that you didn't have time to play all day.
Well,
So
but our guild is patiently putting groups together. Wedge is actively putting groups together because he
right,
wants to raid,
right,
you know, and we are systematically every week spending an hour minimum
hmm,
raiding, trying to figure out how to beat Veil Guardian. Ben came in, and one of Ben's friends, Ein, came in
yeah,
to help us out with that, you know, which is really cool. But it's more like it's a nice situation because we all talk about it. You know, some of the guys have played PS Warrior, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong?
yeah,
Because my DPS was off and this and that. And they're like, okay, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. Okay, I didn't know I should be doing that, so now I'm going to start doing that. You know, I actually had to change a skin on my Twilight because I couldn't see the blue circles because every time I did 100 blades, it was,
oh,
you
yeah,
know, so little tweaks like that. What it should come down to is NA should take a lesson from the EU Guild Wars community, because EU does a weekly training session that's open to anyone.
hmm,
And they have raiders, experienced raiders, that will each pin a group
hmm.
and teach 9 pugs how to raid. And maybe we should start doing
Really,
that in NA. Yeah, it's on Reddit every week.
man, somebody
It's
listening,
fun.
you know, whoever can take up that mantle, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people should do that. Maybe people don't want to do that. I know there's a lot of people selling raid clears right now. Maybe that's why they're not doing it. But,
Hmm.
you know, or maybe you just get your guild together or whatever. But the point of it is that the people that are out there that have been raiding, that have learned how to raid and are just 1 or 2 people short, shouldn't have to carry people like me, because I have a good understanding of what I'm supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
but I'm not always in the right position. I get blue teleported, blue ring teleported at Veil Guardian a lot
Hmm.
still, which pisses me off every time because I know I shouldn't be, and I'm not watching my feet. And I know it's
Yeah.
me that's screwing up, Why should they carry me through a raid?
Yeah.
And
That's a good
another thing
point.
on top
That's
of
a good
that,
point.
why isn't there an inspect gear function? And you can say this and that. What privacy are you violating by checking somebody's gear to make sure they have on what they say they have on?
The only thing that you couldn't do is, I guess maybe in PvP.
Yeah, no, you lock it down to a squad. You
Yeah.
won't want to do that in WW. You won't want to do that in PvP. That's
Right.
fine. But you have a squad. Make it a squad only tool. Done. You can only look at people in your squad.
A
And if
good
you want to
idea.
go even further, lock it down to 10-man squad mode. You could do
Yeah.
that. So,
Good idea.
so anyway, that's that in the DPS meter. It's still out there. And even though Chris Cleary said something, don't expect an answer. All right.
We could always cross our fingers.
Yeah. So yet again, in the 11th hour, Mo made an announcement on season 3, episode 4. And he said it will release in February. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm predicting that it is going to come out 2 weeks after the end of Lunar New Year and season 5 PvP. I think that they're going to take the next Tuesday after that as the gem shop update, and then the following Tuesday after that will be probably episode 4 of season 3. Now, one thing I wanted to note, and a lot of people are talking about this, and I'm sorry, but I think you're wrong, everybody out there.
Everybody.
If you didn't, everybody's saying this. If you didn't hear the Chinese client, okay, so little quick background. Guild Wars 2 is available in China, but ArenaNet does not localize the game. So what ArenaNet does is they take the American version of the game, they send it over to China to this other company who tweaks the game to make it more likable for China. And they split the profit. In the Chinese version of the game, they accidentally released a map for Lake Doric. So there was a big buzz about it. Lake Doric confirmed for season 3, episode 4, blase blase. From what I had read on Reddit, I believe it was on Reddit, it was accidentally released and that map was abandoned. Done. They're not working on that map anymore. Now, the way I read it as that map that was released to the Chinese game client, that particular map, not Lake Doric. So a lot of people are saying, oh, we know we're not getting Lake Doric now because they said we're not. Well, no, they said we're not getting that map. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. We have a big mouth like me. Get used to the taste of your foot. But
that's a good one.
I think that what they were saying is that particular map that accidentally went to China is what they abandoned, which means, in my opinion, they have redesigned Lake Doric because it's another lore hole for me. Why would I not go into the lands behind Divinity's Reach? I could see, okay, maybe I won't go into the jungle because, into Maguma jungle because there's a lot of beasties and it's going to take a lot of people to clear a path and to set up outposts and to fight off the beasts that are in there and so on. And maybe a 5-man group can't do it on their own. You need thousands of people in order to accomplish that. That I can buy. We're talking about the land that is right behind Divinity's Reach. Mm-hmm. It can't be controlled by the Centaur, because if it is, Divinity's Reach would be under siege. Mm-hmm. So it's open. They referenced Lake Doric in the book Goes to Ascalon. We know there's a Seraph prison camp there. So it's there. Why can't I just walk into there?
Yeah.
So it's a big lore hole. I still think that there's a high probability that the next map will be Lake Doric. The access is going to be to the north of Brisbane Wildlands, which I believe is pretty close to Lake Doric in proximity. I don't remember. I didn't have time to look at the map before we recorded. So it could be a totally different map, but why?
Yeah.
so I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Another way to look at it. I still think there's a high probability that we're getting Lake Doric, and maybe it's a little play on them, so we could be like, "Oh my God, ANET tricked us," you know. So whatever. That's my little thing.
Right.
So now the other point of contention, our friends at Host of Ascalon hashtag and Alona have been saying that the Scepter is going to be the next legendary. So Mo put out his little statement saying, you know, that the next episode's coming out in February. Mm-hmm. Along with that, the Auric Base and Multi-Loop will be nerfed. And a new area with challenging content will be available to farm leather. So...
Challenging content or impossible content?
Well, whatever he thinks it is. Whatever. I don't buy that challenging content bull crap. The only challenging content in Guild Wars 2 right now is raids. Anyway, and hard mode on Nightmare Fractal.
Right.
As it should be. But anyway, there was no... He did say that legendary armor will not be available for this current release, but may be released with Living Story Season 3, Episode 5. Mm-hmm. So I guess better late than never.
Right.
We won't have to wait 2 years for legendary armor. Anyway, back to my original point. I don't think we're getting a legendary in the next thing. So, of course, all the haters on Twitter, like Romo and Levy, I'm sorry, and Sylvia were like, no, Gord, no, we're getting a legendary, and we're getting 2 legendaries per. No. There's no way that in my opinion, my humble opinion, there's no way in Hey that Mo would put out that we weren't getting legendary armor and wouldn't say, hey, but we're giving you a legendary. I'm just gonna reserve my I told you so for what is that? I gotta look at my calendar. Hold on. So or PvP ends on the 6th, so that's probably when Lunar New Year is gonna end. So we can expect the next Living Story chapter on the 21st of February. I will reserve my I told you so's till then. All right, so the last bit of news. There is another new podcast out there. I've been tagging it on Twitter and everything else. They just released their second show on YouTube. I'm not sure if they're doing an audio version. I was under the understanding that they were, but I think that iTunes was not being so nice. But our friend Angelica, Kit the Traveler, started a podcast called Kit and the Travelers. And
with some other friends of ours. So Levy, I'm still going to call you Levi until you pay me my 100 gold. No, Levy, MMO Inks, Momo, and Ash and Lily are doing a new podcast, and it's pretty good so far. Levy had led the last one, which I thought was pretty cool, but I only got to watch about 40 minutes of it, I think. So I'm hoping to watch some more tonight or tomorrow. But I like it, and it's another podcast talking about Guild Wars 2, and the more people out there who are talking about Guild Wars 2, the better. I love hearing the different opinions and having more people to disagree with and more people to say, I told you were wrong. Because you love doing that.
I do. No, but they've been pretty spot on with a lot of their stuff. So check them out. Right now, you can see the episodes on the recording on Kit the Traveler and Ash and Lily's Twitch accounts, and which will be in show notes. And you can catch the edited recordings with video on YouTube on Kit the Traveler's channel. So it's another good podcast, and it's good to see Levy doing it, because I had offered to him to come onto the show a long time ago, but he really couldn't because he's over somewhere in Europe, and it's like probably 4 a.m. right now where he is, or 6 a.m. He's just waking up. So it's good to see him out there, and those guys do a great job. I love watching it so far. So
Yeah, they're great. All of them are such great people too.
yeah.
They interact with us all the time. They interact with other players. They don't leave things unanswered, and they're really just great people. So get out there and show them support. Check out the show when you can. Unless you're like me and Gord and you have to work all day, you'll have to watch recorded stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and a lot of people do a lot of work out there, but really, Angelica Kit the Traveler really, really busts her butt and does a lot of stuff, and has always been involved in the community, and has done a lot of fan fiction and stuff like that. And it's good to see her doing another project and get her out in front of the community, because I've always liked her. She's always done a great job, and everybody else does a great job with her. So check it out. All right, so that's going to wrap up the news. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. And Gallios has no choice but to speculate.
My chest just started hurting.
That's right. So when we come back, you will all witness Gallios' sphincter clenching.
Yeah, don't expect anything spectacular, y'all. So.
Yeah, he took the red pill. Don't worry. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, we are back. So, our second People's Choice and our second speculation. I guess our fans, our listeners,
folks just really they like that, hearing that kind of stuff.
They like the speculation. So I haven't heard from Corey yet, but I'm just going to assume that she got tied up at work. So unfortunately, she's not going to be here for this. But she can retort next week or add anything. We'll give her an opportunity to do that if there's time. But anyway,
because you know that Gord is gonna say something that's not gonna be copacetic
on purpose, because I love you so much, Cora. All right, so we did a poll on Twitter. I like doing these People's Choice things, especially when it's really like, I mean, there's just been nothing announced. ANET is getting back into their stride. It's nothing bad. They deserve a little time to get back into the swing of things after the holidays and stuff. We all kind of took our time, and that's that. So the winner of the poll was speculation of what I called the lost stories. They're not really lost. They're just stories that were opened up that just weren't closed yet. So we're just going to start with Malik, because Malik and his tree is is one of the bigger storylines. So Bobby Stein had admitted on Reddit that they wanted to kind of close the loop with Malik in Heart of Thorns, but there was a scoping issue that did not allow them to do so. If you're not sure who Malik is, Malik showed up in the Sylvari personal story. It was in chapter 2, the teachings of Antari. He was in Where Life Goes, An Unknown Soul, Different Dream, A Source of the Issue, and Snuffing Out Embers. So those were all the story steps that he was in. And we learned that Malik was not born of the Pale Tree, though he was Sylvari. He did not have a dream similar to Sylvari from the Pale Tree, but he was not soundless, and he didn't share a connection with his people that were born of his tree. But he did possess some of the same qualities that the Sylvari born of the Pale Tree had, virtues, I should say, such as loyalty and courage. He was less trusting, lacking the inherent connection to the Sylvari that the Sylvari have to one another, and shows to have been a bit a penchant for revenge. Keith believed that Malik's value to the Nightmare Court, well, because that was it. The Nightmare Court was chasing down Malik. They wanted to find Malik, find Malik's tree, and because they felt like those Silvari would be easier to shift over to Nightmare, and that was Kate's speculation because they didn't have the protection of Ventari's tablet, that they would be easier to turn to Nightmare, and then doubling the size of the Nightmare Court and allowing the Nightmare Court to destroy the Pale Tree and followers of the Mother Tree, and so on and so forth. So Malik's story ended where he had gone into the heart of Maguma. He wanted to find his people and tell them of the Grove, and then return to the Grove in order to help fight the Elder Dragons. Well, Malik was never seen again. So there is some confirmation, as I said, from Bobby Stein, that they did want to close the story in Heart of Thorns, but because of the scoping issue, they never did, and they never closed it with any justice. So, Gallios, do you have any theories on Malik? Do you think we'll see Malik again?
No, I think it might be too late.
I do too.
I think it might be too late. I think if they were going to use him, it would have been in the story with Mordremoth. I mean, just based on what you and Cora talk about, because in all honesty, I've just played one Silvari so far, and I barely even remember Malik. In fact, the only reason I know anything about him is because, Cora. It's one of Cora's. That's one of Cora's wishes, is that the Malik storyline would be followed, because there. I mean, honestly, I would be seriously interested in hearing about that storyline, because I think that's a pretty cool. It would be something pretty cool to figure out or find out about.
I think at this point, Malik's story is done.
I think they can't bring it now. I think if you were going to do it, it had to be done during the Mordremoth, during HOT.
The timing is gone. The timing is definitely gone. And it would make more sense for them to leave Malik and his whereabouts and his fate a mystery that only certain Silvari will recall, and maybe a year down the road, Silvari will be like, gee, I wonder whatever happened to Malik, and you never see him again. It would make more sense lore-wise and story-wise to leave Malik wherever he is than to go back and try and find some kind of.
Well, the only thing that might work is if they were to, maybe tell a backstory or use it as a backstory somewhere. This strange Silvari came through here and did X and saved a bunch of people, but he passed or whatever. Well, it's just closing it off, and it wouldn't take more than just a little bit of creative writing.
Oh no, that's
solve it.
That's fine. A better way to close it off. We're walking through a field,
and you find a tombstone.
We're walking through the field, and we trip over a corpse. We check his wallet, and it says, "Here lies Malik." He's dead. That's
any way to close it off, but then you would have a million people going, "Well, how'd he die?"
Right, so your player character kneels down, checks his wallet. Oh, gee, it's Malik, and look, there's a centaur hoof to the head. However you do it. At this point, it doesn't matter.
Killed by a centaur.
Yeah, the story is cold. It was either going to be that possibly at the last minute, maybe they would have Malik and people from his tree come in to fight against the Mouth of Mordremoth battle. That could have been one thing that they were planning. The other thing could have been, that they did convert and become corrupted by Mordremoth, especially since they didn't have the teachings. That's the only thing that's interesting about the story. What would have happened? You can assume that all those Silvari, all those trees, all those pods, or whatever was there, died with Mordremoth. And I just think that the story's done, and that's where it should stay, just a mystery. gee, I wonder what happened to Malik. I just
Right.
think that the Savari had their spotlight in Heart of Thorns, and if you didn't fire the gun then, it was never loaded. So
Hmm.
that's my view on it, which I'm sure is not going to be popular, but
Uh, it's all good.
it's not all good. I mean, honestly, what do you think? What would you rather see? Would you rather have nothing at all, or what kind of closing would you give it?
No, I told you. I told you. I would just have a. I would just have like a shrine, or I guess shrine's a little bit, maybe a little extreme, but like maybe somebody says that that this strange Sylvari came through, and we were being something was being done here, and he went out to meet the challenge, and somehow
Yeah,
died or whatever. But just to tie off the loop, just to
just for
finish it
closure.
up, because apparently he was important enough to be remembered
Well,
by a lot of people. So
but you could argue that it was already closed because he just disappeared into the west, into the heart of Maguma,
hmm
and we just never know his fate. You know,
hmm hmm
I mean, that's where I'm at with it. It's cold. The Savari had their spotlight, like I said, in Heart of Thorns. You can't go back to it now. Maybe in the future, once the dragons are dead, these evil Savari can pop up. But without the influence of Morgemoth, why would they even be evil? You know,
yeah,
so there's nothing to rebel against. The Nightmare Court was rebelling against Ventari's teaching because they knew that there was a different purpose for the Savari, and that's what they went with. They didn't want to be consumed by the dragon. They didn't want to be slaves to the dragon, but that's what their true destiny was.
yeah.
And you know, so I just think that the story's dead, and I don't think we need to hear anything else about
You
Malik.
don't really care. Yeah, I see.
It's not that I don't care. I do kind of care, but I think it's better lore wise to leave it as an open mystery that is never solved. And you just assume that Malik and all of Malik's people and Malik's tree and everything else just went to ash with Morgemoth.
hmm
All right, so now to something more interesting.
Yeah.
The mysterious E.
This one has thrown me, and I have a really stupid theory on it.
Oh, that's all right. Let's give the background first, and I'll let you give your
Okay.
theory on it. All right. So E was nicknamed Mr. E by Casimir Mead, and E is an enigmatic and currently unidentifiable benefactor of Delacroix investigations. His earliest known activity was soon after the murder of Mendel by a corrupt ministry guard, when he grabbed Marjorie Delacroix from behind and proposed a working relationship that she wouldn't forget. He was described as gently moving, having a deep voice, and no necromantic power. In 1326 AE, E contacted capable players, imploring them to attend the effigy lighting ceremony of the Dragon Bastard Festival in Lion's Arch, having heard whispers of a possible threat to the ship's council, which there was. That's when one of the ship's council members was killed, leaving the space that should have been filled by Evan Nashblade, but was unfortunately filled by Ellen Keel. Not because she's a woman, because that doesn't bother me, because I wanted that Abaddon fractal, damn it. Anyway, he stated that he would intervene himself, but circumstances prevented it. After the Aetherblade attack on the festival and the death of Counselor Ashford, he requested that players seek out Marjorie and work with her to discern the nature of the threat. And then in 1327 AE, E contacted the players again, giving them the word of a disturbance in Brisbane wildlands, which turned out to be the giant vines breaking open a passage through the mountain of Drytop. Countess Anise is similarly contacted after Queen Jenna is accused of conspiring with Scarlet Briar just before the World Summit. And that was the last that we heard from our friend, the mysterious E. Now, although E is usually referenced as a male, Casimir Mead has pointed out that we do not actually know if this is the case or even if E is a single person. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, I I'm glad you read that because I didn't find that whole explanation. So,
Well, give us your
my
theory
theory,
anyway.
no, my theory got caboodled by the last part of that. So this is gonna sound even stupider now. So Countess Anise is an exemplar,
Yes.
and although she is female, who's to say that she's not getting someone to pass on her messages like someone else is recommending there, I guess, that it might not be just one person and it might not be a person, period. Why does it have to also be a male? Just because she was approached by a male doesn't mean it was a male. But anyway, my thought was possibly because Countess Anise has one big thing that she does better than anybody else, and she's very adept at figuring out what people are going to do, like knowing what people are going to do before they do it, kind of thing. So, and I thought, she's an exemplar, so hence the E. Maybe she got another exemplar or someone from the Order of Whispers to work with her to pass messages on.
Eh.
So anyway, I was trying to think of something different because there's a few other theories out there, with
yeah.
some people thinking it's Ella McKay, and it might not even,
No way.
it may not even mean anything, that it may not even mean that they have an E in their name, so it's very confusing.
No, E is very, very important because it's no secret that I believe that E is Avenia from Guild Wars. Now,
that was the other one I thought about too, that it would be Avenia. That was my other thought.
Avenia was the chief advisor and aide to Princess Salma before and during the Crichton Civil War. Avenia was one of the most influential women in Krita. She was the founder of the Shining Blade. Avenia stepped down from her post after the destruction of the White Mantle High Council to focus on politics. The widely beloved Avenia was crucial to gathering public support for Princess Salma and acted as the ambassador for the royal government in exile. Avenia was last seen in Old Ascalon, where now stands Ghost Summit, expressing her frustration that Adelburn still refused to give her audience due to the association of the Crichton monarchy. By the time the Shining Blade had assassinated the Mersat fiend Coral in the Temple of the Unseen, Avenia had disappeared and was never heard from again. So it's unclear what happened to her. Now, maybe that's just the obvious thing,
right? Right.
And maybe it doesn't make that much sense. But E is very significant. What else can we attribute to E? Like you said, maybe exemplar. But Anise is the exemplar right now of the Shining Blade. And we're going to get to her later.
But a lot of the stuff points to it being a Shining Blade member for some reason for me. I don't know why, but it just does. And the funny thing is I didn't even remember this E person. Once I started reading about it, I got like really intrigued, and I was like, this is really cool. I need to read this more. Yeah. So it kind of drug me in. It's really cool. And that's what's, we've said it before. It's just one of those things that's really cool about Guild Wars is things like that you'll have out there and people latch onto and make it just a fun thing. So like I immediately got latched on. It was like a Sherlock Holmes novel, but it's been so long for me that I've really paid attention to it, because I paid attention on my personal story the first time through, but I forget. I mean, I don't have a really great memory, so I forget some of that stuff, and reading it kind of brought some of it back. So it was really neat. And then I got really into it, and then I ran out of time because I had to fix dinner for the kid.
Well, the thing of it is back to Avenia,
yeah,
or back to E. We haven't heard from E Well, there's two things. We haven't heard from E since Living Stories season 2. That was the last time we heard, or was it Living Stories season 1?
Season 1?
I think it was season 1. Yeah, it was season 1 because it was, she led us to Dry Top, and then she led us to Queen Jenna when she was being accused.
Yeah.
So she got involved. Well, he or she, I'll be fair, he or she got involved with the plot at Dragon Bash. He or she got involved with the death of Counselor Ashford, the disturbance in Brisbane Wildlands, which was when we got into the area before Dry Top, there was a Seraph post there. It's all human related. He or she didn't tip us off about anything with the Char, the Norn, the Safari, anything like that. It's all within human circles. It all has to do with something that would affect the Queen. And I think everything is just pointing to her. So that's who it is for me. It's not the Order of Whispers. They're the only other organization known in Tyria that would possibly do this. Now, the only other thing that it could be, when Quaticus reappeared, he was seen with Minister Wynn's... Was it Minister Wynn? I forgot. Mistress Wynn's daughter. Mm-hmm. That's who was with Quaticus. Somebody like that. Mm-hmm. It could be her. She could have been spying on Quaticus, but she never led us to anything White Mantle related. Mm-hmm. I just strongly believe that it's Avenia. And you're going to say, well, Avenia's dead. She disappeared. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So...
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi, though.
We're just going to jump right over to Anise. And if you don't realize that Anise is Livia, I feel sorry for you, because Anise is Livia. Mm-hmm. Let's see. In 1078 was when Livia received the Scepter of Or. It was the Orion relic that the Lich had. And it's pretty well known that she used it to extend her life, because she got it in 1079. She appeared... She was in... Well, I guess it's not that far of a stretch now that I look at it. She appeared in Sea of Sorrows, towards the end of Sea of Sorrows. So that started in 1219, according to... Okay, so let's see here. I'm running through this because the wiki's not that clear. Okay, so in 1256, which is what? That's 60 years later, almost? Almost 60 years... No, more than that. Almost 80 years later is when Prince Adair established the Great Crichton Blockade and his fleet destroyed the Risen forces. Livia had revealed herself there in her true form. She was the exemplar of the Shining Blade at that point. Now, in 1078, if you put her, let's say we put her in her 20s. Let's say she's 18 even. You're talking, she's almost 100 years old at that point, and she looks like a 20-year-old. So there's definitely something going on there. Then you have the clues from Living Stories season 2 or season 1. No, it was season 2. When you're at the party trying to figure out who is behind the plot against the Queen. You're there with Casimir. Canuck makes the comment that Anise, he wonders how old Anise really is. And then if you listen to them at the World Summit, which was season 2, she kind of admitted that she uses her mesmer powers to make herself look younger at the World Summit. So the clues are there. The only one it makes sense with is Livia. So if Livia, even if Livia is dead, we know for a fact, established in canon lore, that she was alive, looking extremely young, 100 years after we last knew. You know, almost 80 years at the end of the story. So we know that she had something going on. So it makes sense that she could be using the Scepter of Or to extend her life. So if Livia is able to do this, Why wouldn't Avenia be able to do the same thing?
Yeah, very interesting. That's a very interesting line theory.
So now, the other thing of this is this could be touched upon on the next Living Story chapter because it's going to be human centric. It's going to be focused on Quaticus. We're already talking about Quaticus. The Norn are going to be rallying. Bram's going to be nowhere to be found because he's going to be busy putting his army together and getting Newt Whitebeard's permission or whatever. And Newt Whitebeard's not going to give Bram his permission. We might see that in the next Living Story chapter. It might be very brief. We don't know. Bram's going to shun us. We're not going to deal with Bram. We're going to come across Kaz. Kaz is finally going to come back to the story. And I like to say that MMO Inc. also said that they broke up. Dun dun dun. So it's not just me who says that Jory and Kaz broke up. But anyway, I believe it was MMO Inc. It was on Kit's podcast. So at any rate, Kaz is going to come back into the story finally. Maybe we'll see Lazarus and Jory, but we're definitely going to potentially see Anise. And I'm hoping that we get some more clues on that. I'm hoping that we get a letter from E because we have not heard from E in a long time. And that's really what it comes back to, because every success that's happened in Guild Wars 2 so far, every major success, everything where everybody's like, oh my God, that's so epic, has been a tie back to Guild Wars 1. So why not do that? I mean, it would be cool to see. It would be a little bit interesting. You could say, oh, well, you're wrong because Livy was a necromancer. Hello, back in Guild Wars 1, you had 2 professions. And if you're over 100 years old, you have plenty of time to learn more. So even if she's only restricted, if Livia was only restricted to casting, she could be a Mesmer, Ellie, Necro, Monk.
Yeah. All 3.
All 4, yeah.
All 4.
She could be.
It's very possible. It's very, very possible that she could be.
So that's where it ties back to me. We're going to find, hopefully in Living Story Season 2 or the next Living Story Season 3 chapter that comes out, we get some kind of word from Anise. We get some kind of word from Avenia. And Quaticus attacks Jenna openly. In the current event now, Quaticus seems to be trying to rally people to his cause, trying to turn people against Lazarus. So there is definitely the rift in the White Mantle. Quaticus is proven to be a coward. He's not going to fight until he totally can. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. But that's my thought on it.
This is a pretty interesting thought. I think that took a lot of theory crafting, Gord.
To me, it's just like there. It's just like it's easy to see the connections for me. So I don't know. I would be disappointed if they actually didn't do that at this point. And I know a lot of people don't like that and don't want to hear that or whatever. But I mean, honestly, that's what I feel. I feel like that's the way it's gonna go. We're gonna find out.
In this,
and maybe it's not
this piece, you think?
No, there's going to be more clues. I don't think that's going to come to revelation until something has to happen to put the queen in mortal danger. Because another popular theory is that Anise is really Jenna, and Jenna is really Anise because they're both powerful mesmers.
Yeah, like they've just cloaked each other.
Yeah, so she's standing in. The real Queen Jenna is not there, and that would make sense too, especially in a time of danger like this, where you have a lunatic running around openly wanting to kill the queen. They're not going to go for Anise, probably. I mean, they did it in Star Wars. Padme had a double, so
right.
I think it might be something like that. So the last bit of story. The last thing is Gleam. Glint's first scion. So
this one's a tough one.
It's not really.
Well, I'm going to say something really funny and you're going to bust out laughing.
All right.
But go ahead. Go ahead with the backstory.
No, you go first. Okay. All we know of Gleam is that there was one mission in right after you beat the Great Destroyer in Guild Wars 1. You could assist the Brotherhood of the Dragon, which were dwarves, in protecting Glint's baby. Now, in Guild Wars 1, it wasn't really clear because there was a bonus mission in Guild Wars 1 where you could take one of Glint's eggs and fight and kill Glint, but it kind of was a non-canon thing. It's a lore hole that's in the story. In Guild Wars 1, the devs had acknowledged that, but it's basically non-canon. Glint does reference it in the book Destiny's Edge, that the people she had empowered and assisted and given the Flameseeker prophecies to had then come back to try to kill her. You know, she did reference that. But it's not quite sure what happened. But what we do know is that Glint did have a baby, and we had to defend that baby in Guild Wars 1. It was a bonus mission. You had to defend it against destroyers. Anyway, that's really all there is to it. It is speculated, heavily speculated, that Aureen's egg was given to the Master of Peace by Gleam, which makes sense. When the person talking to the Master of Peace has a very deep voice. When he's talking to whoever gave him the egg, he's looking up towards it. Dragons have a very long lifespan. This dragon is about 250 years old now, which would put him as, we would say, I guess, a teenager in dragon terms. He's a tween. So
emo.
Yeah, so I think that Gleam took the egg and entrusted the Zephyrites, who actually descended from the Brotherhood of the Dragon, when the dwarfs left Tyria to fight Primordus, they kind of took over and protected Glint's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The Zephyrites actually went into the desert and secured Glint's body after Krakator killed her in Destiny's Edge, so that her body couldn't be exploited by unwanted people, you know?
Right.
So Glint is kind of easy to wrap up. We are going to see more Glint. The thing that I wish people wouldn't say is that, oh, cute little Aureen's going to replace all the other dragons. No, she's not. Stop it. One dragon can't replace 5. 6.
Yeah, that would be a little difficult to contain all of that magic and still be sane.
Well, I mean, I'm still of the belief that at one point, eons ago, the dragons were not evil creatures. I believe that they just did their thing. I think maybe they interacted with whatever's living on Tyria at that point, maybe helped life flourish and everything else. And I think the chaos of the magic drove them insane. Because everything you hear about the dragons is that it's chaos, it's hunger, it's Krakatorik's mind was explained like a hurricane of chaos, and all it knew was hunger. And that is a side effect of the magic, of controlling the magic for so many years. And it corrupted them. And that's just my belief, you know, and hopefully something will come out. I know that's, again, another of my unpopular opinions, but to me, again, I see the connections too well. And I'll say it again. I've said it 100 times. I'll keep saying it until it doesn't happen in game, or somebody, Peter Freeze or Bobby Stein, says, Gord, it's not going to happen. The 6 are going to replace the dragons.
Well, what I don't understand, I'm not real great at this whole story thing, you know, creating story and stuff like that. I don't know what the aversion is to it. Well, I guess we got Cora's side of it, and why she would have why she has a disbelief that would happen. But I'm still trying to grasp.
Doesn't like it.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. She's given her side of it. I just don't see why it wouldn't be. I mean, the correlation exists for that, and I'm wondering if in the beginning the 6 weren't coming to do exactly that in Guild Wars 1 in the first place.
They're higher beings. They're not gods.
Right.
Like, we kind of had that debate, and Cora had said, what kind of god are they? Are they an all-powerful god or blah, blah, blah? No, they're powerful beings. That's what they are. They already have dominion over magic in Tyria because they gave magic to humans. So they can control the magic as it is already. So at whatever level these beings are at, they understand what the magic is and they can control it. Therefore, anybody can absorb it. The player characters were absorbing magic.
Mhm.
So anybody can absorb the magic. So it's just a matter of understanding the magic, absorbing it, controlling it, keeping
Mhm.
it at a non-chaotic level. That's what needs to happen. And it doesn't even come down to the six. And a lot of people don't like the six as an option to replace the dragons because, oh, they're the human gods. No, they're six powerful beings that the humans adopted as their gods, just
Mhm.
like the Char adopted the Titans, just like
That's
the
like the
Grawl
story
adopted a
of,
statue of.
like that. It's kind of like if you watch a lot of those TV shows that we like to watch, or at least I know Cora likes to watch it, like Ancient Aliens.
Ancient Aliens.
Like,
I was watching that today.
maybe the gods Ra and the other ones Saul and
Yeah.
all of that. Who's to say that that wasn't the same thing? That their gods were really just beings,
That
powerful
they didn't
beings,
understand.
more intelligent
Yeah.
because they didn't understand. So it's I kind of am leaning towards the same thing. So I have to take your side, not because you're my co-host, but I kind of feel the same way. I thought I felt the same way when we talked about it months ago.
Well, what it all comes down to is the concept of the all.
Mhm,
And it's overlooked a lot.
mhm,
The eternal alchemy, when we saw the eternal alchemy, what we thought was the eternal alchemy, it was really the all.
mhm,
So the all it's also referred to as the Antikythera, and it's a cosmic mechanism that incorporates the world of Tyria and six bodies of power. The
mhm,
interpretations of the bodies of power vary, some taking it to be the spirit realms, others to be the elder dragons. The six bodies of power are in continuous push pull motion, perfectly balancing themselves to each other in the world. It is said by the apostate that if the bodies fall out of balance, then the world itself would tilt and everything would fall off. The vision in Omad's machine, which was meant to open the mind to the eternal alchemy, showed the all with six colored orbs that represented the elder dragons. In the vision, Zaitan's orb crashed into Tyria's central orb, eclipsing the entire vision. The vision took place 2 years after Zaitan's death.
hmm,
And then the Dermot Priory have a depiction of the all on the ceiling of the special collections, which places the first letter of the dragon's name in each of the six spheres. So the all is there. The Asura refer to it as the eternal alchemy, and they're the more advanced creatures on Tyria that are into mathematics, and you can argue astrology and everything else. That's what it comes down to.
mhm.
So so basically the world is tilting right now because there's two elder dragons that are dead and six beings of power or six bodies of power have to replace those elder dragons. There's nothing else in the game that can.
Right.
So
I just think the
that's how I look
correlations are
at it.
too strong for it not to be. You
Exactly.
know.
Exactly. Whether you like it or not, the correlation is there, the groundwork is there, and
Right.
I can see that. So now there's one more little thing that I didn't put in the patch notes.
Well, I wanted to bring something to your attention too.
Oh, okay, go
Did
ahead.
you know that in the Silver Waste there is a geode saleswoman named Gleam?
Oh yeah, I knew that.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a little bit neat. What would be really
Yeah.
crazy is he's been hiding out. Was Gleam ever said it was a male or a female dragon?
I believe it was a male dragon.
Okay. I just thought that was kind of funny that they named that. Maybe that's just an homage to a dragon that is never coming back, and that's the homage.
It could be. I mean, they've done it before.
I don't know. I don't know what would have happened with Gleam, but it does seem kind of odd that he would just go away. I mean, you'd think that he'd have at least the same kind of treatment that
Well, he
Aurene
didn't
has.
go away. Yeah, he didn't go away. He was at the end of Guild Wars 1, and it wasn't relevant to the story until he gave the Master of Peace Aureen's egg. So at some point, Gleam or Glint's first scion is going to come back into the story. That's going to happen at some point. It's
just remains to be seen of what his contribution is going to be now. That's going to be the interesting part.
But he's got to be leaning towards good because he gave Aureen's egg.
The plan was there. Yeah.
Because who else would it be? What was it, a Jotun? You know? I mean, come on. That's where I'm at. All right, so the last thing that I wanted to cover was I'm going back to Ritlock Brimstone. And I'm going back to Ritlock, received the power from one of the 6. The power of the Revenant came from one of the 6. And I recently discovered that there is proof of this. Wait for it.
I'm waiting for it.
Okay, in 2012, by 2012, I had pretty much forgotten about Guild Wars 1. I did go back in here and there just to have a little bit of nostalgia, but around the launch of Guild Wars 2, Guild Wars 1 had done an event called Wayfarer's Reverie. I did not take part in this because Guild Wars 2 launched. What I found out recently, like just this week, is that during the Wayfarer's Reverie, you could get a summoning stone called the Legionnaire's Summoning Stone. It was given by Phylin, sworn to the winds during Wayfarer's Reverie in exchange for a proof of waves, proof of winds, proof of flames, and proof of mountains together. It summons a Legionnaire. It cannot be traded, and it was introduced in Wayfarer's Reverie in 2013. This is the only summoning stone that is reusable by level 20 characters, and it's also the only one to require a usage cost. It's an infinite stone. So big deal, you say. Go to the Guild Wars 1 wiki and Google Wayfarer's Reverie, and then you'll see Legionnaire Summoning Crystal. Click on the Legionnaire Summoning Crystal and look at the picture of the Legionnaire. I'll wait.
Oh, you want me to do that right now? I thought you were telling everyone else.
It's like a play along. You know, you're doing it. The people that are listening to the podcast are doing it.
Okay, here I go.
Play along.
Hold on.
Interaction.
Okay, where am I going?
Oh my God. All right.
I'm sorry.
Go to Google and type in Wayfarer's Reverie.
Okay.
Okay. Scroll down.
Legionnaire.
Scroll down to Legionnaire Summoning Crystal.
What part is it going to be in the
It's in all the links.
There it is. There it is. I got it.
Got it. Good man. Now there it is. There's a little summoning crystal that you'll remember from Guild Wars 1.
Yeah.
Now in notes it says this summons the Legionnaire. Click on the Legionnaire link.
I did.
Look to the right and you see the picture of the Legionnaire.
Right.
Click on that picture and make it big.
Looks like Ritlock.
That, my friend, is Ritlock Brimstone.
Huh.
That is Ritlock Brimstone holding a charged shield and holding Sahathan, which in-game was a fiery dragon sword. His armor is exactly the same. His look is exactly the same. He is 250 years in the past, and he is helping humans. In my belief, because he undertook a trial from one of the 6, was sent back in time to help, and was rewarded with the Revenant's power. Proof!
Interesting.
Undisputed! Confirmed! Yeah!
Interesting.
You can still say I'm sketching. I'm stretching it. You could say it was kind of.
I always believed it. I always believed it was too. I was never the opponent of that. I always believed that he got it from them too. And I think you asked the question before giving the answer, and I gave the same answer that you were looking for. So I thought it. I've been thinking all along it was the gods, one of the human gods, or one of the
Now I missed this content. This content came out in 2013.
And I always thought it was Cormier.
Yeah, I had. Nah, not Cormier. It would be Balthazar. It would be Balthazar or Duena. I don't believe Cormier would do it, or it was all 6 of them.
Gave a little something.
Yes.
The reason why I say that is because the Revenants come into the picture with the eye guards that basically.
So the Ritualists. Ritualists bound their eyes too.
Well, that's true.
So in the notes under the Legionnaire, it does say the Legionnaire wields a fire dragon sword, which is physical damage, and a charge shield. Blah 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 blah. He is the only Summoning Stone ally that has more than 1 elite skill. He has the same appearance as Ritlock Brimstone from Guild Wars 2, and was introduced in 2013. So it's there now. This is Ritlock. You're not. This is a summoning crystal. This is a piece of magic that humans wield. Now the belief that the theory on this that I read on Reddit was that that's how he gained the power, by going into the mist and then coming back and forth through the mist and meeting these people and learning about these people so that he could, channel them. And that's how he became a Revenant. I doubt that. Ritlock opened a portal with Sahathan. There's magic in Sahathan, similar to Magdair. Ritlock did not understand it and probably could not wield that magic, as Cora said, because he's not a human.
Right.
The magic can only be wielded by a human, and I believe that it will be Queen Jenna that releases Ascalon from the curse, and that's going to be the final peace treaty for the Char. They'll become allies. They'll like each other. They'll drink Char beer and all that good stuff. But Ritlock got into the mists with Sahathan. Sahathan was crafted in ore in the City of the Gods. It's my belief that the portal that Sahathan opened was connected to the 6. Ritlock met the 6, possibly tried to fight them or whatever. They offered him an alternative, offered him the trial to give him more power. He took it. He passed the trial by helping humans, because Guild Wars 1 is strictly human game.
Right.
So the only people that wielded Ritlock, that were able to summon Ritlock from the mist, were humans.
Right.
And that's that. To me, this is definitive proof that it was the 6, because Sahathan got him into the mist. It was the 6 that let him out.
Right. Crazy.
So.
Crazy.
Proof. Proof, I say. Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll tell you you're wrong. So yeah, that's all our speculation. I hope you guys liked it.
That was good, though. I really liked that. I really liked that, because that's really, really neat find. Very neat find.
Yeah, I found it on Reddit. I was going through one of the lore, and I meant to write the Reddit user's name down who put it out there.
Yeah.
And put me on that. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's Ritlock. Now, you could say, oh, it's just a promotional thing. They made a char that looked like Ritlock to promote Guild Wars 2. There's no mention of Guild Wars 2. There's no connection with Guild Wars 2. And it's canon. That is canon. That is canon lore. That is something in your game.
That means this stuff would have been thought of a long time ago. But see, they had this story plot in mind a long time ago.
But see, when we get into these discussions, I'm not going to call it an argument because it's not, or debates about all this, oh, they don't have time. This is what eats at my soul, because they are not writing the story. They're writing details of the story now. They are, but the greater picture is done. The greater picture, it has been done. And that's more proof of it. They've had this plan in place for a long time.
Yeah, it would have had to have been.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's not the writing, it's not the story that's slowing the game down. It's the game engine, because I don't believe that the game can keep up with the story. I believe the story's written.
They wrote a powerful story in the
yeah. I think all the storylines are open.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, so that's that. So there's my definitive proof. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me something. I don't care. In my mind, I'm right, and I can't wait. I wish Cora was here because I saved that A bomb for her. Well, not really an A bomb, but I was really curious to hear what her reaction is. So maybe we'll hear it next week.
That'll be interesting to hear and see what her rebuttal shall be. It's gonna be fun.
All right, so that wraps up our speculation. We're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back to close out the show. Okay, and we are back. So that's going to do it for our show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, as always, give us feedback. Let us know what you think. If you agree with us, if you don't, that's that.
Either way works.
Either way works.
Any kind of input's better than no input.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's going to do it for the show. Hopefully, we'll be talking about Living Story next week or next show. But if not, I already have a topic in mind. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah, not always.
Never. Well, I don't know. You do a pretty good job.
Sometimes I pull a Mo and
better job than I can.
Yeah. Sometimes I pull a Mo and release the show notes on recording night.
That hasn't happened in a very, very long time.
I know. All right, so Gallios, you have any shout outs?
I do. I want to send a shout out, and I hope I don't butcher this name. It's either Shara or Shayara Galepaw, who sent me an in-game whisper saying, thank you for doing the show and that they really enjoyed it. Y'all just don't understand how much that means to be approached in-game. It's almost more exciting than reading a post. Yeah. on the internet, because that means someone's actively seeking you out or actively waiting for you to come online to say something nice like that. So Shiara or Shara, I hope you got my message back. I think I missed you. You went offline, so I sent you a personal message and just wanted to say thank you for saying hello. We really appreciate your listening.
Nice. Yeah, thank you. All right, so I have a shout out, and my shout out is going to Guild Mag. Those guys are awesome because Miko told me when the pre-orders were shut off, but of course I'm always late to the party. I accessed the page and it was still active, so I placed an order. I did place an order for 3 magazines. They immediately got in touch with me and said, look, sorry, pre-orders were closed. The website didn't show that, but we do have 1 magazine that we can send you. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Full credit on the other 2. So it was kind of my Christmas present to Cora and Gallios. So I failed at that, but they handled it really well. And then it comes from the UK, so it took a little while to get here. But when I got it on Thursday, I think.
It's a good-looking magazine, too. Huh?
No, you don't even understand. It's like beyond that. Like, pictures can't do the magazine justice. It really can't. The magazine was $8.99. Mm-hmm. It is more like a soft cover coffee table book.
Really?
It is. It's
like a graphic novel.
It's a heavyweight page. Is the best I could say. Each page is glossed. The layout of it is really nice. The content that was inside is really entertaining. You can get the digital version for free on guildmag.com. They do they do put out a magazine every now and then. But next year, I really highly recommend that you guys, if you're into Guild Wars, just buy the magazine. It's so well done, and for Guild Mag is partnered with ArenaNet, but they're amateur. Well, maybe not amateur, but you know what I mean. They don't do this.
It's fan stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fanfic. It's a fan news site. They're not financed by big corporations or anything. But when I got this magazine, my jaw hit the floor. It's very well done. It's very high quality, and it was worth every penny. And I will definitely be buying every year going forward. So I recommend you do the same if you're really into the game and everything else.
Now I'm jealous.
Pick it up next year.
I will, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's my shout out. So Gallios, if the good people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
They can get me at Twitter at Gallios_GW2. They can get in touch with me on our Discord server, Shadow of the Dragon Discord server, as Gallios #3334. And if you want to talk to me in game, it's Gallios.8142.
Perfect. All right. If you want to get in touch with Cora, go to any social media site and put in Guild Lords.
at Guild Lords.
At Guild Lords on Twitter and Guild Lords everywhere else. So
Tumblr, Instagram.
So you can follow
Granny's cookie recipes.
If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email us at sotdpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Twitter at SOTD_podcast. If you want to get in touch with me, you can reach me at Gord the Norn on Twitter. You can reach me on Discord at Gord #4133, and you can get me in game at Gord.8654. Another way to keep in touch with the show is our new and improved URL, sotdpodcast.com. So it's much easier now. I just did I'll call it an overhaul, but really all I did was change a theme. I didn't like how it was laid out. And we're currently on a free WordPress account, and I actually found a better layout. So things are much more compartmentalized. It's not a full post that you have to scroll through. You know, it's a little snippet and then you click on it to read the full post. But I also, if you go to the website, you'll also find our new and improved Shinies page, which has a long list of people that are involved in the Guild Wars 2 community, streamers, media outlets, and general community, and as well as a list of other podcasts. There's 6 podcasts out there now, 5 podcasts out there now, including ours, you know, so there's plenty of stuff on there. Go take a look. You can also read some information on our Patreon if you'd like to support. And yeah, that's that. Definitely go out there and check it out.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I think that's everything.
That's everything. That went fast.
That was fast. It was a quiet night.
Nice,
I miss Cora, though.
I do miss Cora. Stop working.
Hopefully I should be back.
Adulting stops at 5 o'clock on a Friday night.
unless it's news about $1 million a year paying job or something like that, you know, then you got to do it.
Wow. I guess. Yeah. I guess that's interesting.
Maybe, you know. But anyway, we miss you, Cora. Can't wait till you get back.
Yeah, I'm sure she'll be back next week, hopefully. All right, so that's going to do it for the show. So we will be back in 2 weeks with our next adventure together.
See you, everybody.
Peace out. If Livia was only restricted to casting, she could be a Mesmer Ellie Necro monk. Did I lose you, Gallios? Are you muted? You fall asleep? Gallios?
Hey, you didn't see my message? My little one got out of bed. I had to jump up.
I see it now. I'm like, shit, I need to stop talking.
So, yeah, my wife just got home and my little one got out of bed, and so I had to put the big one into the bed, put the little one back in the bed, and then unlock the door for my wife. Okay, but I'm back. I'm sorry.